Hello. Welcome to another installment of Harambedome, a playoff installment, in fact. Our first installment after our first round of the playoffs. And my tone is rather melancholy because my co-host is not joining today. He will not be on. Jordan Dry, living in Babylon. Um, you know, even though he's not here, he's thinking about the pod. He should be back next week. But it just puts a damper. But alas, the pod is in good hands. Some may say the best hands, because we have not one, but two doctors on the pod today. So why don't I start by having both of you introduce yourselves back on the pod for the second time for each of you, I believe, two separate occasions. Either one. Va, how about you introduce yourself first? We know who it
All
is.
right. It's your boy, Captain Dr. Vava, back for a second time. I know we were going to have the Doctor Pod the first time we were supposed to be on, but ended up being two separate ones. So the official Doctor Pod.
Nice, welcome. It's great to have you back. I don't remember which one you were on, if you had a solo or if you were with someone, but
I don't remember,
um,
honestly.
that rolls us to our next doctor. Why don't you introduce yourself?
What's going on? It's TJ Sexy Dad. Brennan, I'm about a year and a half away from officially being a doctor, but I'm getting there.
Listen.
Happy to be back.
You're more of a doctor than any of us, and we would call either one of you if we needed a doctor. You'd be the one we would call. So
Also, and I don't know, third on the list might be you, Sean. A Grey's Anatomy
see,
enjoyer.
and honestly, I don't mean to say this, but I honestly feel like I'm going through residency, like kind of in the same way you are.
I'm sure you do.
Like that's how I feel watching the show. Is like I could almost pretty much do what you do. Like I think I get it. So
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
at this, I think I would just need to read a couple definitions, and I think I'd be good to go. So
No, I'll be honest. We Google shit all the time, so you'd be fine.
yeah, I'm sure you do. Listen, Western medicine is the best medicine, right? Aaron Rodgers believes that. Well, hey, we are rolling into this thing. It's going to be a little different here, because we're in the playoffs and we don't have power rankings now that people are being eliminated, and we don't really have so much going on with the matchups of the week. So honestly, we're going to see how this thing rolls. But if this pod ends up on life support, we know who's going to be there to take care of the job.
Ooh.
Oh, hold on. Man, I really botched that one. I should have had the soundboard up to do just like a little. There we go.
Is there a boo sound?
No, but there's this.
Yeah, okay.
And you know what? How about this? If y'all are down to do this, why don't we spice this pod up, since we're probably going to be running a little short. We don't got everyone's second favorite co-host. Why don't we pop our cameras on and do a little pod on cam if we're able to all do that?
Ooh.
Switch it up. I know everybody likes to see Brennan. Everyone calls for it in the pod, so I don't know so much about you, Va, but yeah, hop on the pod anyway. Or hop on the cam.
I'm on my phone, so hopefully.
This is I'll do a derail in honor of Wardle, but how's the weather around where you guys are? Because it's been cold in Florida the past couple days.
It's been
You've been to the gym recently?
At,
You've been to the gym recently? You look like you're posing for a magazine cover. Nice. You changed into that shirt, didn't you? Right before you hopped on cam. That's what took you so long.
I did not know. I'm on my phone, so.
Well, I hope you know what Wardle and Loesch are going to be doing watching this pod the rest of the way out.
Oh.
So.
Oh, I'm counting on it. Hopefully
man.
They turn their cameras on too when they do that.
All right, so for my horrible derail, how's the weather? Because it has been cold here. Genuinely, it's been like pretty freezing. Saw my breath this morning.
40s here, 40s, 50s.
Okay.
Where are you, Brennan?
I'm in Sylacauga, Alabama. It's like 30 minutes outside Birmingham.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's been in like the 50s, like high 50s for probably the last month or so.
Have you gone into Birmingham?
Gets pretty cold. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Okay, I was gonna
Some of the
say,
parts.
do they have like a lot of historical stuff there? Because I just know, like when I teach the U.S. history curriculum, that when it comes to the civil rights, Birmingham is talked about quite a bit. I don't know if they would have like
Yeah,
that sort of stuff.
there's a good amount of stuff. I haven't done like a lot of the historical stuff just because it's such a hassle to drive all the way over. But there's a bunch of like old like small towns and stuff that are kind of built up and around it. It's pretty cool.
Okay, not bad. It's an old city too.
Yeah, it's very old.
Yeah,
It's pretty
man.
nice though.
Yeah, Bama is a
Probably
place
gonna
that
be here for a year.
I'd like to see. I bet you're around a ton of Bama fans that are obnoxious. Yeah, to say the least.
A little bit, yeah, especially up this way. And then I'm only about an hour and a half away from Auburn, so it's kind of
Okay,
like a
Right in the
conglomerate
middle.
of both.
true, true. Did either of you catch the Pat McAfee like on game day, Georgia versus Alabama? Did you catch what he did where he like sang the Bulldog song or whatever and then picked Bama? That was
Yeah,
hilarious. I only saw that recently and I was cracking up. I thought that was so funny.
That
But
was a while ago, right? Like three-ish weeks ago.
yeah, and yes, I
yeah.
did just
Yeah.
see it, but thanks for pointing that out, Va. Appreciate it. All
I was
right.
just wondering if I
So,
was thinking of the same thing.
no, it's cool. I'm behind. Whatever.
I don't follow college football at all.
Yeah, you knew enough to know that was 3 weeks ago. So,
Yeah, I guess.
anyway, let's go ahead and roll into again, we don't have a power ranking segment. We don't really have. Well, I mean, yeah, let's. What we did last time is we talked about just the
We can,
results of
yeah.
the games, and there's only a few of them to really talk that much about, and so what we think kind of went down, and we had a couple bye weeks. I guess one thing I'll comment on first is good bye week to have for at least Ted. Good bye week to
For
have for
Ted, for
Ted because
sure.
man, Wardle's being just consistent at this point. I mean, his team has just basically with Debo Samuel back, it has pretty much just erupted. And
Yeah.
at this point, he's just consistently putting up big numbers. But yeah, Ted needed the bye week this week. Lucky man.
He scored what, like the second lowest
I think so.
out of
Yeah.
anyone, yeah.
I just had it
Yeah, he
up.
would have beaten me.
Oh yeah, that's right. We'll
Yeah.
get to your game. But yeah, good for Wardle's got a dominant team. JB, listen, is it unfair to call JB at this point the Cinderella story of these playoffs? Can we give him that title? Because obviously, like, he's going to face
I
like
think that's fine.
Gauntlet Wardle, and his team like snuck in right at the very end. For a minute there, he thought he was going to lose until we discovered that he was going to win off of a tiebreaker on points for. And so he's in there at that 7-7, took down an 8-6. When the projections and everyone thought maybe he might have been done when Jalen Hurts was playing, and now he's still in. So I would
Also,
say,
something we brought up earlier too was the injuries that he's been dealing with, and he's still in the semifinals.
yeah, loss of the captain at the helm.
Yeah.
He's still doing his thing. So yeah, I like this for JB. This not necessarily who he's matching up against, but I like his Cinderella story, albeit with players I traded him. But the more the playoffs go on, I can honestly say, like I said to you before we started, if I don't lose, I can pretty happily root for JB in this. Uh, that would be a good win to see. So, what are
Yeah.
our
Sorry.
what are our thoughts if we want to go into specific games? And Va, if you had something to say, you can say it before we do this. But we'll look at Stroud Boys and Follow Spike in just a second. But what do you got to say?
I was going to say, you got an easy matchup coming up. I think you'll be fine for round 2.
I do.
Yeah.
Tuck. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Tell me one thing. How does the first of all, how does the Jim and Popeyes mash? Also, are you drinking Popeyes? A drink from Popeyes during the Popeyes playoffs, Va?
Oh,
Oh my god!
totally meant to do that. Yeah.
Wow. great sponsorship of the Popeyes playoffs that you're not even a part
Oh,
of
yeah.
yet. You're still representing, which is that's probably graces
We're
for next year
supporting
maybe.
we're
We'll see.
supporting the competition.
That's true.
No, I have the playoff bracket pulled up right now, and I have a Popeyes ad at the very top. Is
Do you
that
actually?
That's
for everyone, or
yeah,
should I share
no.
the
No, I
That's
screen real
think
that's the
quick?
Popeyes
it's the
playoffs.
yeah, like
Okay,
ESPN.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
it's wild. Okay,
I got an
Vaz.
ad block. I don't see the.
Maybe I do too.
I think in the
Oh,
app though,
playoff
it'll
bracket. Playoff bracket will probably pop up here.
on the phone it generally pops up for me.
Oh, well. Oh,
that's pretty funny.
there it is. It's not a game day without wings. Popeyes
Yeah.
order now. Yeah, good job, Va. So let's break it down. Let's talk a little bit about the game and the game between Matt and Brennan. I think this is no secret to anyone, but I was pulling for Brennan to win this game. I was hoping you would win this one. Oh, that's next week's matchup.
No.
But before me or Vaz, spectators from the losers bracket, add anything in, why don't you go ahead and sum up, just how you feel about your week, what happened, just the end all be all of what went down.
Well, I honestly felt pretty good going into the week. I wasn't projected to win necessarily, and the Tyreek last second switch, I was like, but Dak's been playing pretty well lately. Etienne's been Mike Evans been okay, but I don't know. Last second, I picked up Zay Jones, like I think on Saturday right before, just in case,
Hmm.
and then I ended up having to start him. And as soon as I made that switch that morning, I just had like a sinking feeling about it. Just not, And then basically anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. My kicker with -1. Vikings defense wasn't so hot, you know.
Najee
Just
being
a rough
Najee.
week. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a tough. Because you were kind of, at least by a couple people, I won't say everyone because I get in trouble for that with my co-host, but at least amongst a couple, including myself, I had you as the favorite going in.
You know,
Most points for. Um, you
Yeah.
seemed like, not last week, kind of getting in, but before, like you were picking up steam again and things were going okay. And like Tyreek had 37 2 weeks ago, and Etienne I think had 17. So like you were looking like okay, like you're getting back on track, and then
yeah.
just didn't pan out that way.
No, it wasn't so great. Yeah, I had like 200-point week, and then I lost to Tuck, and since then it's just been.
Yeah.
That's why he says, Tuck's an easy win. I don't know.
Yeah.
Easy breezy. I'll come after you.
And then
I'm gonna regret that saying that in about 2 weeks.
and it looks like I just did the math for your bench because just to see like is there anything you could have done different, and it only looked it really honestly you could have you replaced two players, you're only looking at like 85 points. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean 64, that is it's a low playoff performance. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's just rough. I mean, literally, if anything could have gone wrong, it did, and that's just how it is. In some lights, I'd rather, get blown out than lose by a half point or 2 points or whatever.
yeah.
But just kind of rough because I felt like I was picking up steam. Got to 7-7. I was still sweating the playoffs a little bit, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy. It's quite a few weeks. The last couple weeks with everybody, it was wild.
Yeah, it was poop soup, as Wardle described it. It really was, and what a mess at the end, and how depressing that poop soup was when I did the math, like before the week ended, and was like, "Oh yeah, it's me who's getting the shit end of the stick unless Matt can win," and then it wasn't gonna happen. So that speaking of, and before we actually move on, yeah, I mean, I guess, and looking on Matt's end, speaking of Matt, we'll take a look at his side of things. And Brock Purdy, good week. Brock Purdy's been having good weeks. Saquon didn't even do that great. Amon-Ra kind of revived a little bit here with 21 points, almost 22. And I'm telling you right now, and I think that this is an unfortunate thing in a way because I obviously get conflicted now that Tuck is starting Goff and Laporta against me in a week where the Lions can clinch the division for the first time in 30 years. But it's going to be, I mean, at the end of the day, I pull for my Lions, but if I could pull for them and they just get a bunch of rushing touchdowns, it'd be it'd be nicer of them. But Lions got to win, and we'll see how that looks. But Jared Goff has a dome the rest of the way in the fantasy playoffs, and I don't care who he's playing. Like, I know next week he's got Dallas, and it could be me or it could be Tuck in this game, in the last place game next week. And so if it is Tuck, then he's got to think about the Dallas defense. But I think Goff in the dome should supersede that. I think he's got a fire lit under him, and he'll get exposed if he plays in the cold, but I think he won't have any cold to do that. So I think we'll see some good Goff for a couple weeks here. I don't know how well you all can hear me. It seems like when I was looking at the video that it was going a little slow. I don't know if you can hear me that well.
Cutting off a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it just broke up a little bit. It's a little better now.
Okay. Yeah, it might have been because I was going back and forth. I'm not entirely sure. But
yeah, who are the Lions playing next week? Oh,
Vikings.
shit.
Yeah, playing the Vikings, okay. And so that'll be a big division game there. I would also like to take note game, now before I forget. Sam Laporta is looking pretty good because I made a take at the beginning of the year, and albeit I knew it was hot. I knew it was a hot take.
Best tight end in the league.
And well, even as a rookie, he seems to be living up to that. Hopefully. Man, we're dealing with some slow internet right now. It should pick back up.
You're good now, I think.
Okay. Yeah, Laporta.
Maybe I spoke too soon.
It's just slow on my end loading everything up. I'm not 100% sure why.
Yeah, Laporta.
What do you know? He's still tight end one. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cut off again a little bit, but yeah, he's tight end number one. And then
he is tight end one. Do you want to pull
last
this?
Week was frustrating.
Why was it frustrating?
What did you want to pull up? No, I was just saying facing Tuck with Jared Goff throwing every single touchdown to Laporta.
I know, dude. He literally threw 3 to him. That was awesome. Awesome to see. And I think Laporta, I wanted you to see if you could pull up because mine's going so slow. If you go to if you're on the computer, if you go to players and you go to add players and you filter it to all players and you go to tight end, you could filter points for. I just wanted to see how many points for Laporta was ahead of, or points Laporta was ahead of Kelce. Because I'm obviously trolling Ted about this because he flamed me more than anyone, I think, for my take, coming up with the Laporta Potty nickname that I only use in that example.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's disgraceful to Laporta. And so I let him, and he has Kelce, so I let him know it. And he brought up the point that Laporta has one game on Kelce because Kelce didn't play a game early in the season. And so I want, by the end of the season, I want Laporta to have at least a fair game's worth of more points.
Yeah. Laporta has 171 fantasy points, and Kelce has 164.9, and then 171.8. So about a 7-point difference.
Okay, so what would you guys say would be a fair, if Laporta ended the season with 25 more points than Kelce, would that make up for the one game that Kelce missed?
Well, 100%. I'm looking at the average points that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And so Laporta has 12.3 points per average, and then Kelce has 12.7. So I think score 12 or 13 more points than Kelce, and you get a game's worth of fantasy points.
Okay, so if he's 15 points ahead, we could say he's he's fairly tight end one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for. Because I want to listen. A lot of things have gone. I might lose the league. A lot of things have gone wrong for me this season. That is one thing I'd like to be able to gloat about, being right. Especially
You know
after
what
how
we
much I
should
got
start
flamed
doing
for
maybe
it.
next season?
How much what?
You know what we should start doing maybe starting next season?
We
should start tracking all the icy hots on like some document or something.
Yeah, we really should.
I don't know how much of a hassle that would be, but like it'd be interesting to go back at the end of the season and say, damn, like week 2, so and so said this and turned out to be true. Most of them are probably just going to be like bullshit, but be interesting to track.
I don't think it would be a hassle. Just put it down on a Google Doc as people are saying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tough L for follow spike. Good game for Matt. Not even really like you crack 100, you can say you had a good game. If you're not even like at 110 or more, I mean it was. You could say over 100's a good game. I don't think Matt had a great game based on our scoring standard typically. So good enough game. He won. Trey McBride did well. Has continued to do well. Chuba Hubbard continues to look like a good pickup. So any other thoughts on this game? Va, do you have any?
No, just rough that you have to go at it like that, Brennan. But like you said, you don't know if you're gonna lose. You don't know if you want to be blown out or if you want it to be like by a tiny margin.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's turn ourselves to the other matchup, the one that went to the very last game, to the very last, honestly, drive. The Captain the Gibbs versus Living in Babylon, the other playoff matchup that mattered this week. What are our thoughts on this game? Let's have Brennan, if you want to break it down, then Va can share his thoughts on it too.
I mean, pretty wild. Because I was just kind of popping back and forth. Because I actually had, in another league with my family, similar situation where it came down to literally a 2-point, I guess this is 3-point swing with Jalen Hurts also. But I don't know. It was kind of that was a wild game. I don't know. It's just crazy to come down to 3 points back and forth. I'm proud of JB. Went out there and taking down Jay Dry. I'm sorry to Jay Dry. We get to face each other next week for literally no reason, but it's pretty wild.
And you'll do so for the next 2 weeks as things wrap up. This week and next week you'll play again. So it's a battle for 5th versus 6th place. It's riveting.
Yeah. Okay, quick side note. I don't know if this even matters, but do you know how they do 5th versus 6th? Is it like
whoever wins the last
2?
Week? Whoever wins the last week.
Okay, last week. So this round, like round 2 for you guys, doesn't matter at all.
Nope. And their game really,
it's just like
their game actually like does not matter. Like it really doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because they're gonna face each other anyways.
Yeah, we'll get to the losers bracket games in a second, but like those even have a little bit of implication. But this like literally could have no, like they can only play each other the rest of the way out. So
yeah.
But yeah, Bob, what are your thoughts on this game?
All right. Thing that great playoff game. I think in multiple senses, like how close it was. But I think the other thing is we have like a 2-time league winner and who's been, pretty dominant for most of the years that we played versus JB, who's a 2-time league loser. And then also kind of in and out of the losers bracket, but coming in last seed in the playoffs and then just being able to beat Jordan. I'll be honest, I was rooting for JB because I talked about this a bit earlier. Underdog story, kind of. You said Cinderella story. I was thinking like he's never won the league before, so I kind of want him to get into the finals, maybe win the finals. We'll see. So I think it was a good game. Gabe Davis getting 0 points, man, that's rough. And I think Jordan's brought it up before, where it's like every game that he plays Gabe Davis, he does this. And then every time he's on his bench, he's like getting multiple touchdowns. So,
Yeah, right.
But he dropped them, so yeah, doesn't matter at this point. But yeah, it was a good game to watch. Good playoff game. Happy that JB won. Sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe that's
Jordan.
why he's not here today. Oh,
Wow, that was so delayed on my end. But yeah, that was tough game for Jordan. I mean, I feel like that would hurt anybody, and I know he didn't have a good earlier in the week, like with the early games because of Jahmyr Gibbs going off for 25 on Saturday, and I think someone played on the Thursday game that did well too. I think like his kicker, maybe, I don't remember, JB's kicker or something, but he had another player. It wasn't looking too hot for him heading into the week, and you never feel good, even though like Tuck, for example, Tuck having his running back score 25 points, and like you feel like, and then Laporta scoring 25 points. Maybe it was Tuck with the two players, but Tuck has 50 points, and between two
yeah,
players
it was tough
heading
to
into
have that.
Sunday,
Yeah.
but then you still win. That happens,
Mhm.
but you never feel good going into it after that happens. On a Thursday
Yeah.
/ Saturday. So he
One thing
wasn't
that I
feeling
actually
good
just
about it.
noticed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Um, Seeding would not have mattered for the round one playoff games. Ignoring the bye weeks,
Hmm.
JB would have won no matter who we went up against. And then, oh wait, actually, scratch that. Obviously, if Matt and JB went up against each other, but like if Jordan and Brennan had switched, they both would have still lost. So
Right, the
seeding wouldn't
lower
have mattered
seeds.
in that sense. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So overall, I think JB had a good game. You always love to win a close one if you're on the other end of it. It's nice. So all in all, I think good for him. And it's really true. I mean, Kamara, man, Kamara just puts up points, and it's not like it's huge points. It's not like he's putting a bunch of 30 games, but like the fact that you can have someone that's like, oh
Consistent
yeah, your
points.
floor is 15. Yeah, that's nice to
Mhm.
have. So Kamara, that's a big win for him on that trade on our end. I didn't think it would happen. I thought Jamal Williams would come back in. I thought even the rookie was going to start getting carries, and I thought Kamara would just be like, some good games, like it'd be his game some games, then other games he'd had 5. But wrong.
Yeah.
Kamara's just a beast.
CD was kind of.
CD got saved by a
I expected.
rushing touchdown.
Yeah. Yep. Because the Cowboys were getting nothing.
Yeah, but no, I mean good win for JB. Moving along to the next round. We'll look at his matchup in a second. Let's see. So let's just take a quick look at the couple of mostly meaningless losers bracket matchups. You've got you versus Tuck, where like we kind of just talked
Mm-hmm.
about, you went into the Sunday not looking too hot, and then you pulled it out.
Dude,
how'd that feel?
I mean, I mentioned this in the group chat a little bit. Like, it feels good because you always like winning fantasy, you like scoring points, like whatever. But it doesn't really mean shit. And I swear to God, if I lose the next 2 games and lose the league, I'm gonna be so pissed. But it feels good, but it feels like empty essentially. Always is nice to beat Tuck, especially after this season. There's
Sorry.
no other one that fit better. I feel like Tuck and I have like a toilet bowl.
We're
Well,
very.
no, I
Oh,
don't
here's
feel
one
like
that
it.
would
We
have fit
definitely have
better.
a
This one
toilet
would have fit
bowl
better.
rivalry.
There we go. Um,
Yeah, Tuck and I definitely have like a toilet bowl rivalry going on. So feels good, but it's gonna feel shitty if I lose the league.
yeah.
I'm glad he didn't start Jared Goff, but I don't know if that would have mattered.
No, I don't think in the end. Let's take a look. Well, Goff put up 42, but that only would have been like a 20-point
Yeah.
difference. Let's see, 23 to 42. That you're talking 19-point difference. So yes, he would have beat you, right, by 1. No, am I wrong? No, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, he would have beat you
Wait,
by.
let me.
No, he wouldn't have. I'm a history
ABC.
teacher, not a
No,
math teacher, so
Yeah, I was like
don't come to me for
28
math.
points ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Tuck wouldn't
but
have won that one. But
I would have just felt worse kind of going in. Yeah.
yeah, very interesting. And like kind of like what you were alluding to earlier, when it comes to the matchups and like if you lose the next two, that was one silver lining I kind of took away from losing to Loesch. And at this point, there have been like I may just jinx myself, and I don't care. So many things have happened to me this season I could go on about with like BS stuff like that. Like it's like kind of like how you don't talk crap Va until after you win because of all the stuff that's been done to you.
Yeah.
So much stuff has happened to me this season. At this point, it's whatever. If it's Harambe's will that I lose, it's going to happen anyway, no matter what I say. But at least in this context, and so with this matchup here, I thought like me losing, the silver lining of me losing to Cole was like, well, I haven't lost 3 times in a row all season. It's statistically harder. Like I've had this one loss to lose 2 more. I mean, not maybe it's not, but like it just seems like I've lost once. I'm gonna have to lose 3 times in a row to lose the league, and I haven't done that this year. So it seems like that was a little bit
I,
nicer of a
I want you to
takeaway.
stop talking because I think JB's going to get triggered listening to you talk about statistics.
Maybe. I mean, he might go. He'll listen to this tomorrow morning and then fire something into the chat. But I mean, there's been plenty of people with 3-game losing streaks. I just haven't had one yet this year. So
Yeah, but no, all I'm saying is it's not actually 3 games because the first game doesn't matter, like regardless of what happens. But I see what
in
you're
value,
saying.
but yeah. Because it feels like if we'll transition over to me and Loesch's game, at least I want to share this, and I was hoping Jordan would be here for this too, but he'll hear it anyway. I think Loesch thought the first week mattered. I think he did, because first of all, he added me in the group me. If you remember that, he just sent the @ of my name with nothing.
At Sean.
But
I didn't
then
know what that was about. Was that after something happened or?
that's after he beat me. But listen to what he texted me. He
Okay.
texted me a little bit later. He said, "So, how's it feel?" Just out of nowhere, very Tim-like. And I said, "How does what feel? Losing on a bye week?" And he said, "To be one step closer to the deucing." And I said, "You do realize we're both the same amount of steps away from the deucing after this week." And I said, "This was not an elimination week. We're both still equally in contention." And then he just replied like a few minutes later, and he said, "It's a moral loss. I'm out here shattering your confidence." But I think that was just I think that was a recovery message from.
I was trying to cover up his
No,
ignorance.
right? Because no one's any step closer, right? We're both
Yeah.
equally. So I think he thought he was like gonna be safe after this win, and that I was like a step closer to the deuce. But yeah, definitely not the case. And well, I mean, what are your comments on me and Cole's matchup here? It's looking like, by the way, that the internet's probably just gonna be slow the rest of the way. I don't know why this pod specifically, but
I'll be honest, I was not even paying attention to you guys' matchup. Like
I don't
while
blame you.
the Sunday games or anything was happening, yeah.
Yeah. So Loesch kind of went off.
I did.
Most points scored,
I did notice
except
that
for
Monday
Wardle.
night. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Brennan, did you have any thoughts on this meaningless game? Or at least any players to point out, anything specific that you took away from it?
No, I was just checking out my boy Tony Pillard's stat line, just
Of course.
post trade. I think I did okay after that trade, and I was shocked to see that T. Higgins made it on the trade again. I guess I haven't been paying attention to all the trades quite close.
It's all just me. So
yeah,
got
Mr. Unlimited out of him, so that's pretty good.
Yes. T. Higgins is actually, I made a trade. Unlimited was on the waivers when I added him. I got Zach Moss out of that trade, which, can I just briefly share? This is an example of what I mean about just how my season's gone this season, where like I traded for Zach Moss, and the only reason I made the trade was because I thought T. Higgins in the future may be valuable. He'll sign a contract and he'll probably be a wide receiver 1 next year somewhere. And it's like, okay, but what's more valuable than a wide receiver 1? Potentially, in my opinion, a running back 1. And Zach Moss's contract is up, and they re-signed Jonathan Taylor, and he was a beast when Taylor was out this season. So I'm like, oh, there's just some value. Like he'll walk this off season, and if the situation looks good, he goes somewhere like just wherever. He could be a pretty good RB1, and I already have him on my roster. He could be a keeper because my team wasn't super great this year in terms of like keeper players. And
Yeah.
I was like, that could be a good like slick little move. And so I offered it, and he took it. And then it just so happened to work out that Jonathan Taylor gets hurt again. Obviously, out of the favor of you, Brennan, but I was like, oh,
Yeah.
shoot, like I made this little trade for one reason, but maybe my luck's turning around. Like he could be not Jonathan Taylor, but Zach Moss could be at this point, not a league winner, but he could save my ass. And at that point, I was even thinking a league winner because I wasn't eliminated yet from the playoffs. And dude comes in and puts up like 7, 8, 7 and gets hurt. Like, when like just this in the same season, he was a beast when Jonathan Taylor was out. 40, 25, 23 or something like that. And then, here, I'm avoiding pulling it up just because of how slow everything's being. But if it pulls up here,
20, 25, 10, 40, 15.
And then what was he for the past 3 weeks? Past 4 weeks, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The past 4 weeks has been 11 last week, and then 8.9, 8.6, 8.8, bye week, 0.3,
Well,
3.3.
yeah, Taylor was healthy for all that. And I think Taylor was healthy for the Tampa game. I think he just got hurt at the end or something. But yeah, so the 3 games he came back, 8, 8, and then when he finally had 11 in the second quarter, he gets hurt. So it's like, that right there is one example of like many I could list where it's like, okay, so that's my season this season. Like, I thought luck turned around and I got like a dominant player, and instead I got somehow it didn't work out. So that was one to see. Him getting hurt's a bummer, and now Taylor's probably back. But yeah, I mean, good week. Of course, Devontae is going to pop off on a week that doesn't matter.
Yeah. What's the deal with Stefon Diggs?
The Bills ruined him because they fired their OC. Not that the Bills are doing well. I think what happened with that move is it made the Bills better. And this is information coming from Jordan too. It made the Bills better, and I'm not quoting him because he'll come in and say that I'm misquoting him as well. But like we had conversations about how they changed up their offense a little bit, and based on what he told me, plus what I'm taking away from it, my interpretation is that it made the Bills better, but like it ruined Diggs because they like zoned in on Diggs early in the season, and like it was just like tunnel vision to Diggs, and now they've like completely changed to running the ball like a ton, and like that ruined Stefon Diggs. And another great example, because who would have seen that coming? So just a bummer. But yeah, so Stefon Diggs sucks now. Hopefully he can have a good week against the Chargers. I'm kind of hoping this week, if I'm being totally honest, I'm kind of hoping this week is my week to do it, because I don't like my matchups my team has in the final week. Like, I'll do what I can, but I don't think it's looking that good if I end up in that last game against really anybody. And so, like, I really feel like this is my week to get it done. And, well, we'll see. But, yeah. Interesting week. But let's go ahead and turn to our next week of matchups, because the bye weeks are over. The meaningless games are over, except for Jordan and Brennan. So let's take a look at the games that matter right now. Starting with, we'll just go winners bracket down, just the way it's listed on ESPN. So, Olave Garden versus Stroud Boys. What are we looking at, gentlemen? What are we most interested in this matchup? How do we feel it's going to play out?
All right. If we're talking about who I think is going to win, I think it's going to be Ted. Even though he had that rough week, round 1, I think overall he still has a slightly more dominant team. But it again, it could go either way. But if we're talking about who I want to win, Ted, I love you, man, but I want this to be like the year of someone who hasn't won before. So I want Matt to take it to the finals just to see how he does. But I think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be close. Yeah.
Nice. Brennan, what are
Yeah.
your
No,
thoughts?
I think I definitely agree with that sentiment of seeing someone new win. Overall, I think Ted can take it though, especially I mean, got Rashad White. I think my Bucks are going to take it this week against Jacksonville.
They
I
need
don't know.
to.
That's my take though. That's my icy take. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
I'd prefer to lose to the person that's going to move on though.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I like the matchup. It'll be interesting. I'm rooting for Ted. I think this is no secret.
Yeah.
Matt and I's rivalry there, just outside of fantasy and into actual football, carries into this as well. So yeah, not a fan of him winning the league, even if he'd be a new winner. And at least while I only still have one, I don't want him to draw even with me. And Ted having two, I'd take that. Ted's had a good season, and I've ragged on his team so much that I've jumped on board. I'm going to Olive Garden if they let me in. I'm ordering the breadsticks, a ton of them, and I'm throwing my full support behind the Westerner in Teddy and letting him get his second, because he's also one who's lost the league. And while I may be on the
Yeah.
path to finding out what that feels like, if you've lost and won, give him another dub in there too, because I'm sure the L can't feel great. But yeah, that one's going to be an interesting one for sure. So let's pull up our next one here. The Captain, the Gibbs, and Nook if you book. What are our thoughts?
I got to repeat myself. Like, I think Wardle's going to win statistically, but I want JB to win. I think in this case, Wardle has a clearly better team. Been performing strongly all season. JB's been kind of sneaking into playoffs, sneaking that win round one. So if he can keep doing that, then good for him. But I think it's gonna be tough for him this week.
Yeah. What do you think, Brennan?
I'm going all in. I'm supporting Wardle.
Oh, all in support for
Why
Wardle.
Wardle?
Oh, I think I know why.
Everyone's gonna rag on him, and but yeah, he might have someone that I'd love to pop off this week as well.
No.
Little Baker Mayfield action.
There we go.
We'll
That's
see.
what I was waiting for. The Baker Mayfield start after the 40-point week. Hey,
You can root for Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, but not root for Wardle.
That's
oh,
true. That's true. I mean, I'd love to see my boy Flacco go off too. I
yeah.
got that rookie signature.
Can we talk about this quarterback matchup here? Also, we know where this is coming from, right? We know what Ted said in the chat about Joe Flacco. He who starts him
What
shall
did he
win
say?
the
Remind
league.
me. I don't think I saw that one.
So JB is going that route, and I can't even blame him for it because Flacco's been at least 20 every week, and his quarterback situation is not good. So
Yeah.
it's not like I can rag him for starting him over Howell or Gardner Minshew.
That's
So
true.
he's in a position where it's actually a reasonable thing to do. And I see Joe Flacco's got the questionable symbol there, but heck, he might have just made himself the team of destiny. How can you root against that story? I'm interested to see how it plays out, and
Cinderella story.
I love the quarterback matchup. I love the fact that it's starting the year it was Tua and Kirk that were at their helms, and now Tua's been benched probably because Tyreek might still be out potentially. I'd imagine is why. And now you're looking at like a round 2 playoff matchup, and it's Joe Flacco and Baker Mayfield going at it. I don't think anybody would have said that at the beginning of the season that would be happening in one of our playoff games. At least not with good health. So very interesting. But yeah, I mean, look, like I said earlier, you got to give Wardle's team credit. I mean, I'll take Baker over Flacco. I'll take McCaffrey over Gibbs. I won't take Zeke over
Yeah.
either
You're
of his
cutting off
running
again a
backs.
little bit, at least for me.
Okay, can you hear me better now? It's probably a no. Oh, unbelievable that my Wi-Fi is doing this on the Doctor Pod. This is just disgraceful. So bad. All right. Can you hear me better now?
Can you hear him, Brennan?
No.
Wow, that bad. I think you can hear me now, though, right?
Yes, I think. Keep
A little
talking.
Thank you for that soundboard work.
bit.
Man, this is a bummer because we weren't right in the middle of this thing. I would like try and do something to fix it. Absolute
We hear the
menaces.
soundboard. We don't hear you that well.
I'm not working
That
the
was me on the
soundboard.
soundboard.
Oh,
Fuckers. Oh, man.
we hear you every time you say, "Can you hear me better now?"
Yeah, and then it's
But
the
then
in
everything
between
after
is just
that,
not
yeah.
that.
Jeez. It makes me just want to sit here and like wait for it to be normal again, but it's been like this for 30 minutes now. Oh, and I can see my
Mine is
Wi-Fi
good.
bar going down.
Yeah. How fucking delayed are you? Holy shit! That was like 2 minutes ago.
Oh wow, I'm down bad here, folks.
We've just been having two different conversations this whole time.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, so you're rooting for Wardle overall.
Yeah,
Around you.
I mean, mostly just because Baker, and I feel like
Yeah,
nobody's going to take Wardle. I'll take him.
yeah, that's true. I feel like maybe. Oh wait, yeah, maybe Ted has a chance in the finals, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Also, JB's team, like I said, Wardle's is much better, but I like JB's team in terms of like Jahmyr Gibbs. I hate him. I hated him just because he took all the touches away from Monty, um, and he's probably going to continue to do so. Kamara's a beast, like high floor. CD's been a fucking beast, so he's got a solid team. So I think JP can hopefully pull something off.
No, definitely.
He's projected way less, so like 109 to 122 right now.
Can you hear me?
R.I.P. Sean. Oh yeah, we can hear you now. Can you hear us?
I can, but obviously it's still slow.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, we'll see if we can get through the rest of this thing at a decent pace. Let me know if I'm just super delayed again or cutting off. It'll probably happen pretty soon. Like I think it's happening now.
I think
don't
you're
know.
good for now.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's take a look at the next matchup here. We've got
Yeah, we just got 2 games to get through.
two games. We can do it, boys.
What up with the balloons?
Jeez, what a mess. I'm telling you, the boys are going to need like some patience to get through the back half of this one.
All right.
I think we are having two different conversations
I'm
here.
I'm really curious. Holy shit. I'm really curious how this is going to sound on the actual podcast because if he's recording us being delayed. Like it's 5:33 when I'm saying this. Or 6:33 in Eastern time.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it's like.
Wait, when did you say it?
Say what?
Hold on there. Okay. Anyway, I thought you were. Never mind. I thought it was still on delay or something. I I'm all messed up from this now. But let's look at me and Tuck's matchup real quick. So, what are your thoughts on me and Tuck's matchup here?
We got to see who Tuck's going to put in his flex.
No,
But
yeah, who's he gonna put in?
Oh,
but I'm on
he's
the
tinkering.
website right now, and you're like, yeah, probably going to be Ridley.
Yeah,
Is he like? Is there a reason he's not in?
I think he's waiting to see if Ty Chandler is going to be healthy, or I'm sorry, if Alexander Madison's going to be healthy. If I had to guess,
If
he
Madison's going to be healthy,
he also may be debating T Higgins over Ridley, and he may be debating even Noah Brown if he can get healthy.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, do you guys have some overall thoughts on this one?
I don't know. I think it would be pretty hilarious if your 3 losses in a row comment comes back to bite you. Like I'm in it for the memes.
I mean, listen, at this point, it seems like it's already in the cards. I think we'll see. It feels like Harambe's decided my fate with all the shit that's happened to me, but we'll see. So now that I've added that onto the meme list of what'll happen when I lose, and I actually want to get you guys' take on this, since we're talking about people in the losers bracket. What are your thoughts on the punishment this year? Like, because in my opinion, like, and I know schedules matter, and like I've like a teacher, so if I'm like, oh, I want to wait till this time to do it, and I have free time, like it's not as big of a deal, like over summer or whatever. But obviously, you guys are year round. But like, I was talking to a man, I think it was Tuck, and Tuck was, if it was Tuck, Tuck was saying how he would rather do the hot chip over the plane, and I could just not see that for me. He said he has bad luck with planes, but like this to me, what hurts more this year would be like getting the L on my name. That's what would kill me. Especially being like so close to not being in the losers bracket and then taking the L, and at this point now losing 3 in a row to do it. So for me, like the punishment's not bad at all. In fact, I don't mind planes. The middle seat is not an obligation since I actually was the one who tried to push for it, and then it got shot down by everybody, so I don't have to give myself the middle seat. And so, I don't know, being on a plane to Seattle and back, I don't get to leave the airport, but I don't know, it's just time. Like, to me, it's just time. It's being split up between the league, the payment, so it's not like I'm having to drop $500.
One thing.
So, just time.
One thing I'd like to say, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can.
I 100% agree with I'd rather do the chip challenge than to do the flight. And the main reason for me is I don't mind planes. I love flying. I love traveling. But I get like 2 weeks of leave for the entire year. And I'm not trying to waste like 2-3 days of that for no fucking reason. Like I want to be able to take my leave to go see my family or to go see Karishma, and I would feel just so like shit wasting a weekend that I could have taken off to do the punishment. But
yeah, that would
not
suck.
saying I'm. This is what Karishma's been telling me. She's like, "You better not lose because there's no way in hell you're gonna take off just to fly to fucking California and back and not come see me." And she was even like, "Could I come with?" And I was like, "No, you couldn't. Like that's part of the punishment."
Deanna did the same thing. She was like, she's like, oh, we can make a vacation out of it. I'm like, you don't get what this is. I'm like, you don't understand what's happening here. This is not like, oh, we get to make a vacation.
We can't.
And it's also not, she's like, oh, I could come with you. I'm like, well, no, but also no, because like I would not, like, we're splitting the ticket. I'm not gonna pay for a whole ticket, and you shouldn't pay for a whole ticket to like have you come with me, just to come with me. Like, no, and I don't even think they would be approved anyway. So no, like this is not a
Exactly.
vacation. This is
Yeah.
a punishment. So that's
Yeah.
why I was surprised. I get everyone saying like
For no reason. Like you're not doing anything fun.
yeah. And at the cabin, I
Yeah.
forget, neither of you guys were at the cabin. It was at the cabin where I was pushing for the middle seat, and it was shot down
Yeah.
because it was I think it was JB who said something along the lines of like some of us are big guys and like don't want to be in a middle seat for that much time. It's like, okay, that's fair, but now they can't enforce it, no matter who it is that loses.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd
So
be like just
you better believe I'm taking the window seat.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's hey. I've only talked. Well,
Yeah.
Brendan, what are your
I don't
thoughts?
know.
What punishment's worse for
If
you?
it's an option to do the chip, I'd be if I lost,
Oh, can you guys hear me?
It's yeah.
Love it, love it. So, Brennan, which one is worse for you? The chip, like something about like the chip, or the flight?
I mean, I get it from Varun's perspective. I'm only med student, but like I don't want
No,
to
it's
skip a
busy as fuck. Yeah.
weekend or yeah, like I don't like totally get that. But I mean, I think the airport is. I mean, I've never eaten one of those chips though, so I don't know how bad it is. I think if I was in that shoe, I'd rather take the chip than the flight.
Wow, maybe. Listen, everything I've been saying makes it sound like I want to be the loser, and trust me, I don't want that on my resume, especially not before Jordan. I mean, maybe JB will get mad again at me talking statistics, but like statistically, right? If we continue to play this league for, I don't know, I'll just say ever, right? Like we're all bound to lose at some point. Like somewhere down the road, we're all bound to lose this thing. And maybe not, maybe someone will go the whole time and never lose it once,
Yeah.
but the punishment, everyone, now that's three that I've talked to about it. I don't know, I get this eerie feeling that it keeps lining up to be like my year to lose this thing, and I don't like it, and I don't want it, but we'll see what happens.
Sean, have you been in the losers bracket before?
Oh yeah, I'm not that good. I've been in two other times. I've been in once where I played Loesch in
Okay.
2019 in the final game. I played Loesch. That's when Loesch lost the league because I beat him.
Okay.
I beat him on the backs of Tyler Higbee and what's his name? He was like this like random wide receiver on the Washington at the time Redskins that just like balled out for like 3 weeks. Can't remember his name though. I should. I did for a while. Now I can't remember it, but yeah, I almost lost then, and then I was in the losers bracket the year that I made the trade of Herbert for Jonathan Taylor and Lamar Jackson with JB, and I was in the losers bracket, but that was like his Lamar's poop game, where I forget who I beat, but the poop game,
Oh.
that last touchdown was like I thought I was gonna lose this thing, and it turned out that had I lost to whoever I was playing that week, the next 2 weeks I would have lost the league. But the poop game touchdown kept me from it.
Yeah.
Where it was like I'm down like 8 points, and I was sitting there. It's like the last play of the
Nice.
game, fourth down. I'm like, all they need is a field goal. Like it would have to be a touchdown somehow. Lamar comes in and throws a touchdown, and
Yeah.
yeah, I went nuts that game. Like that was the other time I was in the losers bracket. So it's been interesting every time I'm in there. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. All right, so last
I'm
game.
just asking because the stress of the losers bracket is like something that it's been like 2 years now. So I remember last year I was just relieved to be in the winners bracket.
Right.
And then but like it's so fucking stressful. Like I'm thinking of like, is there any way for me to like who would I rather go up against the last week? Would I rather would I rather have gone up against like Cole versus Tuck this week? After this whole thing plays out, I'm definitely going to go back and look at like, hey, would a certain matchup would have been better for me or not?
Right.
But it's stressful, dude.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm and speaking of you being stressed with everything, let's look at your matchup. You versus Loesch. What are your thoughts on the game?
It's going to be a close one. Loesch has got a good team. I'm hoping James Cook doesn't repeat his performance because that was insane. Mostert, I remember him being kind of. Let me see. Never mind, he hasn't been kind of quiet. Why did I think he had been kind of quiet? Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. But yeah, he's got a weirdly scary team. Justin Jefferson hopefully stays quiet. Cooper Kupp has been balling these last couple weeks, so yeah, this is insane. Like for a losers bracket team, like Patrick Mahomes, James Cook, Raheem Mostert, Justin Jefferson, and Cooper Kupp, like that sounds unreal.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Brennan, what are your thoughts on
And
this
then
one?
I got fucking Jamar.
No, I think that this is going to be a real toss up. I think this will be like a 2 or 3 point finish, like in difference, because I feel like the matchup of Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in the losers bracket is pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is.
Even our defenses are Bills and Chiefs, like
yeah,
pretty
like
decent. And then go ahead.
I was just saying like two good squads and although I did want I will say this, Jordan can confirm this too when he listens. Like I was rooting to try and play Uva because especially after seeing Jamar Chase go down and then seeing like the matchup that Lamar had, I was like, "Oh, this might be the week to play
Yeah.
Va." That's what I was thinking. And like if Tyreek Hill came back, so I know Jalen Waddle played well, but like if Tyreek comes back this week, I was like, it just overall might be the week to play Va. And I don't know. I'm not matched up against you, but we'll
Yeah.
see what happens. But yeah,
I
all in
think
all, not bad.
I feel like a lot of my players have been coin flips this year. Jamar Chase, David Montgomery. It's like whether or not Gibbs gets the touches or the touchdowns versus him. So it's going to come down to if my guys perform to the level that Lush's players have been performing.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, this will be an interesting one, and it's going to set up for what our loser bracket looks like. And
also, I'm looking at previous matchups, like against Lush. We have had the super low scoring matchups. Our week 4 matchup was 98 to 97 him, and our week 12 matchup was 90 to 66 also him.
interesting. So it might just be another low scoring game again.
Yeah,
Interesting.
maybe.
Also, can I just say something that I think is going to get me made fun of later? I don't know why I didn't try this 40 minutes ago, but I turned off my camera and everything seems to be working perfect now. Like the speed of everything, bouncing back and forth. Like I think having my camera on might have messed with.
Was your camera not? I thought your camera's been off.
No, my camera's been on the whole time. I was projecting the three of us on because everyone calls for a pod where everybody's, on air, or at least Loesch did. When Brennan was on, he wanted the Brennan
Brennan,
cam
has
on
it
the
been
whole
on for
time.
you?
It's been off for a couple minutes at least, but it might have popped in and out. I'm not sure.
Okay, because from my perspective, this might have just been the internet, like not projecting your video. But
Yeah.
like 5 minutes into the pod, I just saw your camera go away, and I was like, "This bitch."
So my camera's been on the whole time, and I mean, you can see it on my
Yeah, I
end on the
haven't seen you for the
recording.
whole pod. Maybe. Okay. Well, I'll have to go back and watch your previous one.
We went through all that just for my camera to be on. It's so gross. Anyway, see what happens, Jordan. Do you see what happens when you're not? I need my co-host, Jordan. I know. Listen, I know we've had our differences at certain points, but I need my co-host. So things are just falling apart a little bit. Although the doctors are keeping the
He was
pulse on
talking
this thing.
shit about you before the recording started. Just letting you know.
No. That wasn't happening. Was I saying something about him being late twice to 2 pods now? Maybe, but I don't know if we
Yeah.
categorize that as talking shit. Maybe talking dome, but not talking shit.
Mm.
All right. Well, let's roll in. I mean, we've recapped everything pretty well, I think, pretty thoroughly. We're excited for next week. So let's knock these couple of segments out real quick, and then we'll have this thing under wraps. So looking at the waiver additions, just to go through that, our free agent offers report last Thursday, December 14th, we had Tuck with the Justin Herbert ad. And I don't mean to extend this, but I have to ask both of your thoughts. What do you think about what I brought up in the pod where, because it didn't really seem to get answered in my opinion, where, I don't know, I doubt you had any plans for this, Brennan, because you had Dak, but like, I doubt you were thinking of keeping Herbert, but like Herbert's typically a great quarterback. And so if you had dropped him, right, and picked him back up because you had more money than everybody because he had a bad season and his ADP might even be lower next year, potentially, who knows, but if it was, right, you drafted him, and keeper is draft. But if you were to have dropped him and then added him, in my opinion, if you had the money to do that and make a move like that late in the season to potentially take him at a lower position, then you would have had to take him as where you drafted him. I think that's just a smart move by you. Like, I think that should be totally allowed, but everyone else is saying that it should be like because I just feel like if a player hits waivers, they're a waiver player. And like if nobody else gets them, that's on them. And if you're in a position where you have the most money and you do it as a strategy, that's just a good gameplay. And because, the rule apparently is that they have to go through somebody else, get dropped again, and then come back to you, and then it becomes ADP versus where you drafted them. And I just respect the move. Like if you had added Herbert back and he had a bad year, so he drops a couple spots from where you drafted him, ADP, get him at ADP. That's how I felt. But it just seems to kind of be shut down with no real reasoning as to why.
I can't hear you, Brennan.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, my microphone's connected to my phone. I don't even understand it. But yeah, no, I wasn't even thinking that far ahead when I dropped him. Honestly, I totally forgot this was the keeper league. So maybe that'll break the internet in the league. But I just was like, oh man, I need a wide receiver. Just thinking like any other league, I guess.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean there. I think definitely that's something to think about if we're going to continue doing the keeper league forward, that we got to have little provisions for that.
Yeah,
Kind
I
of set in
didn't think a
stone.
provision hurt. I didn't think a provision would
Yeah.
hurt based on what people thought
No.
about it. But yeah, I thought it's a respectable play for that exact scenario. Not that that's what you were thinking, but that exact kind of scenario. Or like Mahomes, right? Like if Cole had $80 at the end of the year, Mahomes had a year that obviously like people draft him in round 2. His ADP is like 2. Like if his ADP drops to like 5, and Loesch is like, because he had a bad year, but Loesch is like, he could bounce back in the off. Who knows? I could like drop him and pick him back up and get ADP instead of draft. I just think it's a savvy move, in my opinion. I don't think it should be.
I have a question.
Yes.
And this might be a dumb question because never, done a keeper league before. So it's when you decide to keep a player, it's ADP of the year that like you're just coming off of.
So when you keep a player, if you drafted them and they've stayed on your roster, or in this case, as the rule stands currently, because supposedly it's a rule, as the rule stands currently, if you've dropped them but picked them back up without anybody dropping them, or without anybody else adding them, they're still your original draft position that you got them at. And so if that's the case, you get them at that position. I I believe it goes up every year. So if you drafted them in the second, you would have to lose a first to keep them. If you
Lose a
drafted them,
first. Okay, so
if you drafted them the first, it stays
if you,
first.
now if you decided to keep a waiver wire pickup,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you picked up someone halfway through the season off the waiver wires, and they're like a baller now, and you just had to keep them.
Right.
What draft position do you lose? Is it the like ADP -1 of
Yes.
like what the upcoming season would be?
Whatever ESPN is saying ADP is on the app, -1.
Okay. So in your example, like you, okay, I see what you're saying.
So in my example, and I'll use
You
Loesch,
draft them,
like
and now they're a
Loesch
waiver wire
drafts them
pickup,
at
and now they're the
yeah, Loesch drafts them at round
Okay.
2. Let's say Mahomes is projected for round 4. Loesch would get him for round 5, and that's
yeah. Okay.
you ended up in a savvy position to make that happen. Like it's not like you planned it from the beginning, so you're not drafting Mahomes expecting a down year. But you know what? For that person that got that crappy situation, and you saved your money, then yeah, you just drop them and then get a few less spots. You get them, and then hope that like you end up with a steal for it. I think it's just we respect the scheme in the league, so I don't know why we wouldn't respect this kind of scheme too. Is my point.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but anyway, moving along. I wanted to see you guys' thoughts on that. Moving through, right? Follow Spike adds the Zay Jones, like you said. Wardle adds the Bears D. I did not get Justin Herbert because Tuck added Herbert. I got Chase Brown, and then Nuck If You Buck did not get the Rams D because he added the Bears D. On the Friday, Captain Dr. Va added Kaimi Fairbairn from Houston. And then the Stroud boys added Clyde Edwards-Helaire on Saturday. So we had ads all week. On Sunday, Nuke If You Book added Jordan Mason, I guess as a backup for McCaffrey because he had an open roster spot, I'd imagine. And then Monday, you have Jordan, who added Phillies D after dropping the Jags, and Marcus Mariota as a backup for in case Jalen Hurts didn't play. So a couple savvy ads there at the end, although it didn't pan out. Still a good little backup to throw in there, and switching from off the Jags and onto the Eagles was a good move too. I would think, even though again didn't pan out, still a good play to make. And then today, still some movement. You have Ted Olave Garden adding the Commanders D because of who they're playing, the Jets, I believe. I added Zamir White in the hopes that Josh Jacobs will be out. And I could get a flex that might actually pan out okay. Because Courtland Sutton against New England scares me a little bit. Captain the Gibbs added the prophetic Joe Flacco to see if the prophecy can come true that Ted put out there. And then I added the Texans defense because of a couple matchups coming up. I added Jackson Smith because he had that game-winning touchdown. Maybe he'll be valuable. Who knows? Didn't get J-Mo because I added Jackson Smith, and then I didn't add Jerick McKinnon because I got Zamir White. So that wraps up the offers report. And look, here's what I'm going to do. Out of respect for Jordan and how well he does his pocket watch segment, I'm telling everybody now that I'm putting the budget summary up on the screen. I will not attempt to do Jordan's segment out of respect for the man and the segment that he does, but it is up on the screen for a moment so you can see everybody's amounts, and that segment will resume next week.
Is it respectful to do that, or is it disrespectful to not give his segment the time that it deserves?
Well, Voss, since you want to sit here playing devil's advocate, why don't you go ahead and run the segment?
Stirring shit.
Yeah, you do, pot stir. That's why you're in the poop soup with me. So
listen, I'm a guest. This is the host's decision whether he wants to run the segment or not.
I mean, it's
but you made your
it's
decision.
a catch-22 either way.
Something out.
So I'm just gonna stick with what I originally chose to honor Jordan's segment by not doing it and respect it. So that leaves us with our final segment, where we just have to break down real quick, and this is a segment where Jordan did start this one fresh, but I think this is one more specifically since it's so new that he would like carried on this week, which is the Shakaroni segment, which is our new sponsor, the Shakaroni. what's been tearing you up inside. I apologize, Jordan, if I butchered it. But this segment, if you guys didn't fully listen to last week or make it to the end, was where it could be about just football in general. It could be about fantasy football. Just a football comment about what's been tearing you up inside, like a good old shakaroni. So, do any of you guys got anything about football that's just been tearing you up inside?
Yes.
What you
So,
got, Va?
all right. This isn't relevant right now, and it might not be relevant, but it might be relevant come round 3 of the losers bracket.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'll get another chance to be on the pod until then. There's just something I gotta say. I don't know if me ranting about this is going to come back to bite me in the ass and make me lose the league.
Okay.
But me and Tuck, I was looking back on our season, and I've beat him every single matchup we've had. 2 games of the regular season, round 1 of the playoffs. I'd have to go back and check, but apart from I think week 1 and then maybe one other week, I've outscored him every single week. Something that's tearing me up is the fact that it might come down to me and Tuck round 3, and I might lose, and none of it is going to matter. So that's tearing me up right now.
Yeah, I can see that would be that's like a late night shakaroni tear up too, where you ate it at midnight and then it just hits you at like 1 a.m. when you're
It's
trying to go to
keeping me up
sleep.
at night. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't get sleep.
I hear you. Brennan, you got anything that's tearing you up inside about fantasy or football in general, like a shakaroni?
I mean, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
My internet's being wonky. I think Aaron Rodgers not coming back to full contact football 16 weeks after tearing his Achilles. Insane. Absolutely insane. Crazy. That's been tearing me up.
Does it
I
make
thought
you
for sure he was going to be back out on that field next week.
does it make you more mad that he's not coming back and they're eliminated? Like this is the perfect time to come back, right? Or not? They're not eliminated mathematically, I don't
I
think,
know,
but like
right?
they're not getting it. So this is the perfect time to come back.
Exactly. Maybe if he was vaccinated, he could have come back.
That's honestly, that's a really good point, and I wish Jordan was here to hear that point. Because I actually think you're right. I think that might have given him the strength to be back even earlier. So I guess
That
only time will
mRNA
tell.
flowing through the body.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would be an interesting thing to see. But Aaron is not playing the season, and you know what? Hey, it is what it is. He'll be back next year. We'll see what happens. Um, so the shakaroni. So last week I did 2 shakaronis. I had eaten 2 in one night. After one had torn me up completely, I went back for another like a few hours later. But this time it's only 1 shakaroni. Um, I think what's tearing me up inside more than anything else. Last week I went with commercials. I talked about how football had too many commercials, and that was bothering me. But I think you want to know what's really tearing me up inside? The Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to bring it out to real football. The Seattle Seahawks, ever since the Dan Campbell era of Detroit Lions football, have just found different ways to screw over the Detroit Lions. And not that this is a big one, but look, he comes in, Dan Campbell does, and the season last year when we could have made the playoffs, it was because of the tiebreaker against Seattle because they beat us at home in an overtime win. And then, or it wasn't overtime that year, it was just a close game. This year was overtime. And then the Rams couldn't beat them at the end of the season. So the Seattle double dipped in screwing us over when it came to us making the playoffs last year after our incredible run. Then they went into the draft, had a pick before us, and picked the cornerback Witherspoon, I think his name was, that was totally a Dan Campbell guy. Everyone was pumped for the pick. I love Jahmyr Gibbs, but like a corner would have been nice to have. And at the time, we still had DeAndre Swift, and they screwed us there. Then in the beginning of this season, we beat Kansas City. We're riding a high, and then we lose into overtime to them at home again. And now, if they had just lost to the Eagles in Philly last week, we would have locked up the playoff spot already, or at least a playoff spot. And they go on this, they win. So we're still going to make the playoffs. It's fine. But like the Seattle Seahawks of the Dan Campbell era of the Detroit Lions have just had it out for us for some reason. And that tears me up. So thank you for my TED Talk. I hope you all heard it. Okay.
Yeah. We
Okay.
heard the entire thing. It only cut off at the very end.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, so anyway, that's mine. And does anyone have any icy hots? Because now we just kind of offer the icy hot to guest if anyone would like to throw one in. If anyone has one, feel free to share.
Mine's kind of like a lukewarm, hot, icy, lukewarm. I don't know. But JB and Matt final coming up.
Okay. That would be interesting. It would guarantee a new winner, and I know you want that.
Yeah.
Okay. Brennan, you got any icy hot, or are you good with just being torn up by the Shakaroni?
No, I think that's a solid icy hot. I'm in on that one.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. All right. Well, hey, listen, doctors, I know you got lives to save. ORs to operate in, all that fun stuff. I watch Grey's Anatomy, I know. So let's just bring it to our concluding comments. Gentlemen, Varun, you and I are still fighting to not have the deucing, and Brendan, you've been officially eliminated. So just thoughts, anything we want to share with everybody before this week's games. Brendan, go ahead and start.
Yeah, just may Harambe's will, be heard.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Best of luck to
Agreed.
everyone. Best of luck to everyone except for Lish, because I'm playing him this week. But hopefully we have a fun round 2 and round 3 of playoffs.
Awesome. Yeah, these claps are for Brendan. And these claps are for Va. I wish I got to work the soundboard more, but the lagging was just killing me with it. Thank you.
That was for you, Sean.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, as I say every time, look, we do this for Harambe, to honor Harambe. So RIP Harambe, dicks out for Harambe, Harambe for president. May Harambe's will be done no matter what it is with this league. So that said, we are wrapped.